Welcome back into Florida Live. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon live on Fox Local and also on YouTube as we continue to track the fallout from yesterday's shooting on Florida State's campus. We are also learning more about some of the victims and those who specifically lost their lives on the campus yesterday. Joining us live now via Zoom is Fox 35's Randi Hildreth, who had the chance, Randi, I know, to speak to a friend of one of those victims. What have you learned? What are you able to share with us this afternoon?
So yes, I had a chance to speak with Carlos Cruz within the last 30 minutes, and it was a heavy conversation, obviously, because of the weight of what we are dealing with, but in the tone and in watching him describe his friend Robert Morales, you could see that he was still processing all of this. He talked about their relationship meeting while Mr. Morales was in school at FSU, and Mr. Cruz was also in school at FSU, and he says they're both of Cuban descent, and so they're both from South Florida, and just kind of you meet someone and you just kind of vibe. And he says that they met, they had similar backgrounds, and it was pretty much an instant connection. And they have been friends or had been friends for over 30 years. And he described Mr. Morales as a taller man who kind of towered over his friend group, but a very calming and loving presence. He says that he was a great husband, a wonderful dad, and was really, in many senses, a father figure to a lot of the students on campus and in and around Tallahassee. Not a couple years back in the 90s, after his time at FSU, he opened a restaurant, Gordo's. And as I was looking on social media, a lot of people, as the news was developing and we were starting to learn more about the victims, a lot of people were reposting stories about him saying, I knew that name sounded familiar. I knew that that face looked familiar because I remember going to eat at his restaurant when I was in school or traveling through Tallahassee. He wasn't working with that restaurant anymore. He had transitioned to work with dining services at the university, and so was well known by students on campus. And Mr. Cruz said he was often interacting with students on campus to make sure that they had a great dining experience. So someone who was certainly loved, and people are still processing that loss.
And certainly understandable. It's the kind of thing that just you cannot prepare for no matter what. Certainly understand them still processing that and dealing with that. And he was also a former high school coach.
I did learn that late this afternoon, a Leon High School posted about him working with their football team. I believe he was a special teams coach and was not working with them anymore, but they talked about the impact of this loss. And you can see that this was someone who was well plugged into the community. So when we talk about this loss, so many people are feeling this across Tallahassee.
And Randi as well. He leaves behind a family.
Yes, he was married, has one
Mm.
daughter. That's according to his friend. And I did get a chance to speak briefly by text with his brother, who said that he is on his way to Tallahassee and hoping to connect with him based on his availability. But he mentioned that, and then also in a post on social media, talked about their relationship and how special of a man Mr. Morales was. When I spoke with his friend, he said that he had just reconnected with his brother, and he were working to build their relationship that they, had just kind of grown apart over the years, and so was excited about building this relationship with his brother. And it's just devastating to know, just in an instant, everyone's worlds who were close to Mr. Morales have changed.
Yeah, just in an instant. We learned this afternoon the new information, the new timeline from Tallahassee police saying that the entire incident lasted less than 5 minutes, and yet this is going to be a lifetime of 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 pain and hurt for these loved ones, specifically of Robert Morales, who we're learning more about today.
Absolutely. And you also have to think about, I did also attend the news conference at the hospital
Yeah.
this afternoon, and you think about the Morales's family, and then also talking with the doctors who responded to this tragedy, as those who were shot weren't killed but were shot, were taken for treatment. And the doctors talked about talking with the students, and they said they were coherent and were able to explain what had just happened to them, because doctors have to talk through, see where they are mentally as in a situation like this. But the doctors were saying they could still feel the shock of the students processing that they had just been shot.
Yeah, I thought it was striking to hear them talk about how they said they were clearly still trying to process that, were obviously in shock, yet they were clear-minded, and I thought it was striking to hear him say very, very brave as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, the and then I hesitate to say good news, but it is good news in all of this. Officials say that potentially two of
Yeah.
the victims should be released today. We know that in total six were treated at the hospital, and they were not clear about if one of the gunshot injuries is that of the suspect. But we know that in total, they treated six. We know on the campus, five people were shot and then taken to the hospital and treated, in addition to one person who was injured, not shot, but injured in all of this. And so it is comforting to hear that the two are expected to get out today, and that doctors say that those who were injured or shot are expected to make a full recovery.
And then a vigil on campus at 5 o'clock.
Yes, that is set for 5 o'clock, and we will be in place for that. It is off Langston. Let me double check. It is near the stadium on campus. It is at Langford Green, excuse me, and it's in front of the Unconquered statue. And I was doing a little bit of research about this statue in particular, and on the website, it talked about the significance of the statue. So I imagine just the importance of doing it there. And on the website, it talked about this statue celebrates the human spirit that will not be defeated. And you think about what everyone on this campus has gone through, what the families of those people on campus have gone through, and the human spirit of wanting to continue to prevail despite tragedy. I imagine that will be part of the message tonight, but we will be in place for that.